Welcome to the American Roundtable. Politics as unusual as it comes. This is election coverage. I am Al Spry.
And I'm Bill Strickler.
The backlash has started. An upset of the century. Donald Trump defeating Hillary Clinton in a stunning victory that has shocked and stunned the nation, that has led to a backlash like we haven't seen since the year 2000. Bill Strickler, your take.
Well, as a friend of mine told me who's Hispanic, Trump won fair and square, and people need to deal with that and accept it, and then we all move forward together. Like the Beatles said, come together.
That's right, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton wearing purple, and Bill Strickler wearing purple. Come together. Come together. That's the theme of today's show. This is the American Roundtable on Tough TV. More to come.
You're watching the American Roundtable. Now, you got to really think about this November. What's happened so far? You have the Cubs win after 108 years, and then you have the political upset, greatest upset ever in Donald Trump. I mean, this is historical stuff here, Al.
We're living through history, Bill, and history is often plagued with mixed emotions. You know, I know a lot of people who really didn't want Donald Trump, who really didn't like Donald Trump. However, one thing Donald Trump sold the country on, because most of the country voted for him, as far as if you look at the map, most of it's red. Hillary won the popular vote by some 200 votes, but it's not the way it works in this country. We have electoral college. Trump takes it 279 to 228. Not even really close if you take a look at the electoral college state-by-state numbers. But people are angry. People are upset that Trump won. I think this vote was more of a anti-Hillary vote than a pro-Trump vote, and it was really a shout-out against the last at least 16 years of the middle class getting kicked in the ass. Your thoughts?
Well, people wanted change, like we were talking about the last show. People wanted change. They didn't want to deal with a broken system any longer. And to me, if Hillary would have distanced herself somewhat from Obama and said the next 4 years will be about my policies, then she would have had a better chance. Because I just don't think people were ready for another 4 years of Barack Obama. Even though I believe he's a sincere guy and he did the best that he could, I just don't see where most Americans were ready for another 4 or 8 years of the same policies.
Well, sure, because what's the same policies going to lead to? The same policies are going to lead to what the last 20-something years have led to. And even further if you go back. You know, like we were talking before the show, Bill, this is not just Obama's deal. This goes back to the Johnson administration, the Great Society programs, the programs that told people, we'll take care of you. You don't really have to work and grow America. We're going to help everybody. We're going to grow government because government's always the answer. We're going to send jobs away because we want the whole world to be working, which means America shouldn't be working as much. We're going to take away protective tariffs. We're going to take away the jobs. But everyone's supposed to still be very happy at the way things are going. Most people are not. Most people are surviving paycheck to paycheck, Bill. Most people are just barely getting by. And the people spoke. The status quo didn't like how the people spoke. And there's people who are protesting. We'll get more into that. But the people have spoken, and the people want President-elect Donald J. Trump. More on the American Roundtable on Tough TV after this. Welcome back to the American Roundtable on Tough TV. The bottom line, isn't it, Bill? The bottom line. And the bottom line is Trump wins, Hillary loses, people are threatening to go to Canada, people are protesting, all hell's broken loose, Facebook has gone insane. What are you doing today? Well, it's great to have you here with us. The demonstrations that are happening, I would have preferred to see these demonstrations to the wars that we're still involved in. It seems like everybody ignores those, but you have an election, and all of a sudden everybody gets motivated. Marching in cities across the United States to protest the surprise presidential election win of Donald Trump. And there's stuff going on. We have more than 5,000 people blocking traffic in Oakland, California. I'm not sure if that's because of the election or because the Raiders are threatening to move to Las Vegas, but we'll have to see about that one. Also in downtown Chicago, an estimated 1,600 people gathered outside Trump International Hotel and Tower, chanting phrases like "No Trump," "No KKK," "No Racist USA." Your take?
Well, it seems to me one of the headlines was tantrums over Trump. If you're in a contest, there's probably going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser. And tomorrow you get up and it's a new day and you just move forward. As my Hispanic friend told me, he said, a lot of these people, they might not be able to vote or they didn't vote in the first place. So they're just assuming that Hillary would have won or whatever party they had, and it seems like they're protesting Trump. So in major cities, you're seeing that. I don't see it happening in Oklahoma City. I don't see it happening in other rural towns, but it is something that is happening, and hopefully all these people will say, hey, we're one country. And that's what I got to say about President Obama. I think he's a very sincere guy, and he did what he believed in. And when he came out and gave a speech yesterday, he said, we're not Democrats, we're not Republicans, we're all Americans. So even though I might not have agreed with all his policies, I do have to agree with the man himself. And he is a very sincere person in my book, a man of integrity. And he believes that we should come together, and so do I.
Well, the opposite of coming together and what would happen would be civil war. We don't need that in this country. We need to accept what happened. We need to work with each other, not against each other. In another 4 years, there'll come another time where people can speak their voice. If they don't like what Donald Trump has done in the past 4 years and 4 years to come in the 2020 election, they can vote him out. That's what's called democracy. That's what we have here. We have representative government. We're the government. We can decide when we've had enough. Obviously, Bill, people had enough. They had enough of progressive policies that were taking away American jobs. And I really think that's what it came down to. That, and people always living in fear of terrorism, people, a country at war. We've been at war now for 15 years. We've been at war longer than any other American war in American history. This is the most active American war that we've ever been in, and people are frustrated.
Well,
people are angry, and people aren't going to take it anymore.
Right, from the movie Network, mad as hell, I'm not going to take it anymore. And if you go back to 92, and some of us can remember 92 with Ross Perot, he was a businessman. He came in and said, I'll get things straightened out. Bush was running and Clinton was running. And Ross Perot probably took votes away from George Bush Sr., and that's why he lost that election. And Bill Clinton came in. But Ross Perot had the same mentality or hit the same chord with people. I'm a businessman. I can get things straightened out.
He hit the populist chord. Trump won on a populist campaign. If you take the rhetoric out, the Mexican wall and the Muslim conversation that he was having, if you just take all that out, okay, for a moment, really what he ran was, I hear your pain, I feel your pain, and I'm going to help you. That's why he won. People didn't vote for Trump because they were xenophobic or racist necessarily. Really why people voted was because they were tired of the same old status quo, which has done nothing but hurt individual Americans. Imagine that. I understand the people's need to protest. I just hope that they get it out of their system soon so we don't tear the entire country apart, because that's something that we don't want. We'll have more on the American Roundtable on Tough TV after this.
This is the American Roundtable. So, Al, let's talk about how the pollsters had it all wrong. So I noticed that the New York Times on their forecasting page said Trump only had a 20% chance of winning. And that was in Tuesday morning.
That's the New York Times.
Yep.
How did they get it so wrong, Bill?
Well, you're looking at they're not polling the right group, or people that backed Trump, they weren't willing to really discuss it because they were in fear of some kind of retribution. I don't think that being a Donald Trump supporter was a safe position to take because they feared that they would be attacked by Hillary supporters.
Well, they feared. I think you're right. I think they feared being labeled a racist. Maybe they feared being labeled someone who didn't like Muslim people or Mexican people. But I think, and I will say it again, most people, I believe, voted Donald Trump in not because of his rhetoric about walls and so forth. I think what they liked about him was he said, let's make America great again. Because America, my friend, is not great anymore. We might be calling ourselves the greatest country on earth. In some respects, we are. But in some respects, if you go to small towns and big cities alike, you're seeing decay. You're seeing infrastructure decay. You're seeing hopelessness. You're seeing drug abuse. You're seeing alcohol abuse. You're seeing a look on everyone's faces of anger, despair, things that I've never seen in this country. Overweight people, heavy people that are abusing food, people that don't even look towards tomorrow, suicides. We have one member of the military commit suicide every single hour of every single day. This tells me that there is a greater problem in America that needs to be addressed. And most people who voted thought Hillary Clinton did not have the answer, that it would just be a continuation of policies for the last 50 years. And will I say that some of these policies have helped people? Absolutely. There has been growth and recognition of African Americans, gay Americans. We have legalized marijuana in many places, which has been verboten for so long. I didn't think I'd see it in my lifetime. Some good things, not all bad, but there's a despair in this country because the economic engine, the powerhouse that was America, the house that took care of its own, has gone. Jobs are everywhere but here.
Well, you know, the one good thing that you have to take a look in history, if you kind of like follow history at all, is history teaches us lessons every day. And the greatest empire ever, Rome, was destroyed from within. It wasn't because of outside influences. And you can take a look at the United States. We don't call it an empire, but it's a great society. I mean, it is a fantastic society that has a lot of opportunity for everybody, even where an Afro-American man can become president, or a woman could almost become president. So there's a lot of opportunity here. But these great civilizations were destroyed from within.
Well, the British Empire, too. You know, the sun never set on the British Empire, it was said. And now all they have are a couple of islands in Northern Ireland and England. That's it. That's all that's left of the great British Empire. Why? Because when your focus is always outward, land acquisition, wealth acquisition, you forget about the old phrase that charity begins at home. If you don't take care of your people, if your people aren't happy, then your country will crumble from within. Your house of cards will fall. That's, of course, what we've seen with America in the last 50 years. The house of cards is crumbling. And the basic values of America still exist. People still believe in America. The American experiment is not over. I firmly believe that we're just getting started. I think it's a new day. Maybe these policies that Trump puts in will help America. It's worth a shot, you know, because what would happen if you went with the policies of failure that have happened? Well, you're just going to get more failure. If people are not willing to invest in themselves, invest in their country, and start thinking in better ways, and start thinking in more creative ways, and start taking a look at ourselves, then the game is lost. This is American Roundtable. We'll have more for you in just a moment.
We're back here with the American Roundtable. So Al, let's talk about some winners here. We had 61 polls and only 6 picked it right. How did that happen?
61 polls, only 1/10 get it right. Well, basically, like you said last segment, I think people were misreporting. I think people were saying they were going to vote for Hillary Clinton, and then they voted for Trump. Maybe they said they were going to vote for Hillary Clinton, and they voted a third party. Maybe because people heard that Hillary was in such a lead that they stayed home and said, well, I don't have to go out and vote today. It's a little bit of an inconvenience. Hillary's got this anyway. It's kind of like what happened with the Brexit vote in England. So many people thought that the Brexit vote would fail that they stayed home, and guess what? It passed, and England is now moving out of the EU, the European Union, because they've had enough of the nonsense. There's a problem with a lot of these policies. These progressive policies, as well-intentioned as they may be, are being instituted at too fast a rate. They're being instituted too quickly, causing massive pain to populations in various countries. When you create massive pain among people, there will be a backlash, and there is a backlash. Let's talk about the people who did correctly predict, because these guys get kudos. The LA Times University of South Carolina tracking poll got it right. They consistently had Trump in the lead, but they were derided. They were told, laughed at. USA Today notes of 61 polls, only 6 put Trump in the lead, like you said, Bill. All were from the LA Times poll. How about American University history professor Alan Lichtman predicted a Trump victory based on a system involving 12 true-false statements. He's gotten it right every year since 1984. They laughed at him. Who else?
Well, that's the guy that the story we talked about a couple of weeks ago, that he just predicted the winner for the last 20 years, and he predicted Trump too. So if you do a sampling and the people you're sampling don't go to vote, or they don't tell you the truth, I mean it is very subjective.
Yes.
And it's just not dealing with total reality. So there's a lot of potential room for error.
Room for error. Let's take a look at the, here's another troll. Another 2 tracking polls that consistently had Trump performing better came from Rasmussen and Investors Business Daily. Also, Nate Silver managed to be both right and wrong. He covered his butt. He said gave Clinton a 71% chance of victory, but also pushed back hard against polls calling her a shoo-in. And observed Sunday, she was 1 state away from possibly losing the race. So that's what the pollsters were saying. Kudos to the folks who got it right. And the ones who got it wrong, you need to take a look at your polling. This is American Roundtable on Tough TV. More in a moment. Well, we're going to end the show with the call to Canada. Canada is calling. Can you hear it? People are wanting to go to Canada because of this election. They are so frustrated with the fact that their candidate Hillary Clinton lost that they are willing, or at least they say they are, to move to Canada. People like Samuel L. Jackson, he says, no, I'm not even bothering with Canada. I'm going to South Africa. But then you have people like Barbara Streisand, who, by the way, has threatened to leave the country, I think, for the last 35 years, and she's still here. She says she's going to Canada. Lena Dunham from Girls on HBO, comedian, says she's going to go to Canada. Amy Schumer's making fun of all the people that say they're going to Canada because she knows they're not really going to go. Your thoughts, Bill?
Well, let's not forget Rosie O'Donnell, because she has.
Can I forget her for a little bit?
Well, you know, she's saying that she wants to go to Canada. Miley Cyrus, she's going someplace, probably with Whoopi Goldberg.
I think she might be going into the mental asylum. She posted on her Snapchat crying and stuff like she was just having like one of those days where she was going to blow her brains out. This is terrible. But then she flashed everybody it was okay at the end.
Yeah, so, I mean, we have people that want to leave the country, and if someone out there is watching and they want to leave, just to let you know, Canada does take 300,000 immigrants and refugees yearly. So there's a potential, but they like to have professional people. And you can go there for a year and then get your points, and then go for permanent residency. So there is a way to legally become a Canadian citizen.
If you want to do that and you want to go to Canada, it's cold in Canada, but it's friendly.
It's friendly, and 30,000 Syrians are going to be there this year. So you'll make new friends.
You'll have some great tabbouleh. But here's what Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said. He said he's skeptical. Quote, every election season there are people who swear that if the candidate they don't like gets elected, they're moving to Canada. If over the past decades that were the case, we'd have more people in Canada than in the U.S., instead of being 1/10 its size. So it's very funny, but Americans who are serious about making a move, that it can be done, like you said. I personally think that people are going to stay right here, because you know what? What happens? You move to Canada and things start getting better. What, are you going to move back? I think you should stick it out.
Hey,
Don't go to Canada.
You go to
we need you.
If you go to Canada and you stop by the police and you're not a citizen and you're not up there visiting, they're going to send you back to the United States.
Well, this is the American Roundtable. So happy to have you join us. Please tell your friends about the show. We are on Tough TV. We love it, and we love you. We'll be back next week. Until then, I'm Al Spry.
And I'm Bill Strickland.
Keep it real and keep it tough.